Hi, welcome back to another episode of Creative Visions TV. And I'm your host, Karen Dahlman. And we have a great guest here today. This way. He's my dear friend. He's a radio host, TV personality. He's a lot of fun. I want to introduce you to Jimmy Church, superstar.
Oh, stop. Karen, how you doing? Happy New Year.
Thank you. Same to you. You know, I'm doing great. Kicking off the year with some videos, with some fun stuff. Oh, Jimmy, and I'll tell you guys out there as well. You guys been waiting to hear this. My cat wrote a book, and it's finished. And it's finished, you guys. You've heard me talk about it before. Jack the cat wrote his book, and there's more to come on that. But let's get to Jimmy Church and what he has to share with us.
Wait. Do cats have opposing thumbs? How do
Come on, Jimmy. You've had me on your show enough times. Fade to Black is this radio show, you guys, that we've talked about animal communication. By the way, Jimmy.
Yes.
Look what I'm wearing.
Oh, check that out.
Look at my lovely tattoo sleeves.
That's epic. You know what? I got to get some of those. I want the tattoo sleeves too.
I'll tell you, need them because you go to a conference and everybody goes, "Oh, dude, nice tats." I go,
"Yeah, nice." Yeah.
I'm a little hot in here.
Nice sleeves. Thank you.
Yeah, they look good with your shirt. So you guys, okay. So we're going to go on and talk about Jimmy. We'll talk about the cat later if we need to. But there'll be another show on that, you guys. Don't worry. Jimmy. Tell them who you are in case somebody here in my audience does not know who you are.
Oh man, you know that's so ego
loaded.
But I would love to. Here's the thing. I'm a radio, television, and film host. And that's what I do. And so if you need to go and do a search, you can go and do that. Everything is out there. But here's the definition of irony, right? In play in my life. The radio and television and film stuff came because of my crazy life of questioning everything that is going on out there. Yeah. And, that goes back to your parents. And, I've done thousands of interviews and my story I have found out is not unique. Everybody's got pretty much the same story. Crazy mom, crazy dad, crazy aunt, and Eric Von Daniken. Right. Okay. So
everything goes back to Eric Von Daniken.
It all does. I told Eric.
I started there too, by the way, with one of his first books that came out.
Yeah.
The 70s.
I'll tell you a crazy. I've had so many interactions with Eric over the years, but a couple of years ago he started his podcast, and I got this email, Jimmy, I would like you to be my first guest. I was like, what? How did that happen? So of course, right? So we do the show. And as I live and breathe, people can go and check it out. But this is so Eric goes, and I'm not going to do an Eric Von Daniken impression right now, but he's like, "So Jimmy, how did you get into this?" I said, "Eric, you." and I shared the story with Eric, but also, my mom in the book and taking me to the movie 1971, 70, whenever that was. And but I also shared with Eric the truth that when I ask my guest that very same question, how'd you get into this? My unique story, my little precious thing that I held so dear to me, turned out it wasn't so precious, Karen.
Well, it still kind of is. Okay, so my story starts more with the Ouija board and imaginary playmates and stuff. But Chariots of the Gods was that was the Bible, and my mom had it on her shelf in the 70s, just like you, Jimmy. So I don't ever share that story. You guys don't even know that. I don't think I ever told you that. But my mom had some of these books that I was starting to read. Now we've got to talk about the Ouija board because
Sure.
we love the Ouija board here.
Okay, that's a strange left turn. I'm going to try to stay in the passenger seat. My seatbelt is on.
See, Jimmy's used to calling all the shots here. He's used to doing
Yeah.
the show. Look at his earphones, his nice mic. I just have my little blue Nessie here. But I mean, he's used to it. He doesn't know that I can go all tangential, but trust me, he can go there with me. He can. We've done it before. We'll do it again.
Tangential.
Do you like that?
I like that. It's stolen now.
You're going to use that. That's going to be your word on your radio show tonight. Oh, by the way, quick, before we go back to Ouija, tell them about your radio show. Where can they listen to it at?
Just go to jimmychurchradio.com and it's there. It's streamed on so many networks. So whatever's your flavor, everybody's comfortable, Karen, with going to like one space, right? Whether it's YouTube or TuneIn or Spotify or iHeartRadio, wherever your comfort zone is, Fade to Black is there, so you can go and search on, Apple, whatever it is. Just go and search it, and it'll pop up right there. The live video feed, the fun spot probably is YouTube.
That's what I was going to say.
YouTube. Yeah, chat room is out of control, and we've got video and stuff. The other streams are audio only. So if you want to catch the video side of the show, just hop over to YouTube and check it out. We have a lot of fun.
I love that you added the element of video to it, because when I was on a show years ago, when I first started coming on, it was just audio, and then he would watch a video of Rodney and I, as you guys know, using the board, and then we did a show more recently, end of last year I think it was, where I came on and I was sitting with this nice little background, you guys, with all my Ouija boards. You can still catch that show at YouTube. But let's talk about the Ouija board now. You're not afraid of Ouija boards.
No.
Why?
Nope. My mom is it when Karen, I know you and I are about the same age. So
yes, we are, but he's 1 year older than I. So
we're not supposed to do those kind of reveals, young.
And so now you guys, if you guys know my math and my age, you're going to know his age.
So, and we go back to that era, and 1970, 71, 72.
Exactly.
My mom and my then Aunt Z, who's no longer with us, neither is my mom, by the way. But the two of them, who were probably, if this is 1970, they're probably in their mid 20s. I don't think they were 30 years old yet. So they were kids. But I'm 8 years old.
I think I didn't your mom have you when she was in her early 20s? She would have been about 30-ish.
Yeah.
I know the math better for him than he does.
Yeah. And that idea kind of freaks me out, that how my mom was raising us when she was a kid, because at that age, when I was 25,
I know.
Right. It was crazy town. So anyway, I would walk in the kitchen, and it was like every night. And my Aunt Z and my mom are sitting at the kitchen table, smoking Pall Mall straights, drinking coffee, and Ouija. Right. And I can barely see upon the table.
It was a board like this, you guys. We talked about this
100%. And I would watch this go on every night, man. And I'm back outside playing. But I thought that was normal, Karen. I thought that everybody's parents were pounding Pall Malls and coffee and Ouija all night long. And that's what my mom showed me. And it was Ouija. It was Edgar Casey.
Oh God, yes.
Eric Von Daniken, of course, and the strangeness of the world that was happening back then. And Ouija for me was a big part of it. And I would ask her, so what is that? And I remember, and so as I live and breathe, the 8-year-old mind is going, spirits, right? You're talking to who? What's going on? And she would do automatic writing and tell me the same thing. Yeah. And so it's the same thing as Ouija. It's
Yeah,
just a different instrument,
right.
a different medium of connection. But I go, Mom, what are you doing? What are you writing? And I don't know. What? Right? And I would watch her Ouija by herself.
Yeah, wow.
She would have her notepad and she would just be writing and writing and writing, and it was a great experience growing up, and that put my feet on the ground to where I am now. That whole radio and
Mm,
television thing
mhm.
came out of me just saying to myself, if I ever get the opportunity for radio or TV, if I'm ever in that position, I've got questions I need answered. And I would
Mm.
prepare I mean, this went on for decades. This was not something that just happened overnight. I went to school and broadcasting and I had this idea of what I wanted to do with it. But I had a backlog of questions that came out of years of research, going all the way back to my mom and Aunt Z. And that's what's made me who I am today. Ouija is a big part of me.
Isn't that interesting, you guys? So Ouija, I mean, that was kind of your early year experiences, as it was mine at the age of 8 using Ouija. And now my parents weren't sitting there using it. I was doing it. I was the one doing it. But did you ever use the board with your mother, Jimmy?
I tried, and I tried with
Okay.
my brothers. I tried with my
Oh,
sisters.
okay.
No, we did. I never got it going. I, I didn't understand, and that's
Yeah.
why, right? And I think that a lot of us at that age, except for you, because you're completely nuts. But the
Thanks, Jimmy.
the the observance of it as being a toy, right? It comes in a game
True.
box,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And so I think that was part of the perception and the interference with me. Yeah, I definitely tried to use it.
Mhm.
As an adult, it's an even more strange experience for me because it's real, right?
Yeah.
It's real.
Oh no. Now you're like it's real. So
Yeah.
I sat down, you guys, and used the board with his daughter at
Yes, you
one time.
did.
Do
Yeah,
you
yeah,
remember that?
yeah.
Yeah,
I
it
do.
was
I do.
great. She was pretty good at it too, by the way.
I do. I do. I came up behind. Oh, I just wanted to share this with everybody. We're going to get back to my daughter.
Oh, that's
So
cool. Yeah.
I was at a store and I was just looking for some stuff, and I found this Ouija coffee table tray,
Oh,
and
yes.
and so I buy it. And all I'm thinking about in the store buying this, it's cool. I can't wait to get it home and on my coffee. That's not what I'm thinking of. I can't wait to show this to Karen Dahlman. I'm going to take me a picture. I'm going to send it. So I walked out in front of the store, snapped a picture, and said, "Look what I got," And so when you were sitting there with my daughter,
Mhm.
I came up and stood behind. I didn't want to interfere, but I just stood and observed the two of you, and it was such a cool feeling. Of course, I'm a dad, right? So
Right.
that part of it, but I understand her and she grew up a lot like how I grew up. So she grew up with UFO videos and
Oh,
UFO
of
books
course.
lying around the house and my friends and so she was exposed to all of that, but we never talked about it. She understood. She knows what I do, but it's not like she calls me up, Dad, I saw a UFO last night. No, no, no. She doesn't listen to the show or things like that, which is great. But for me to, you know what I mean? We have that separation.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
And by the way, she's not a child. She's an adult woman. So I just
she's,
want to make that clear. People understand that get the image in their head. She's like an older woman.
yeah, older woman. I think when we did that, she was probably mid 20s.
Yeah, at least. Yeah. So now she's probably like 30-ish.
She's 28.
Okay. Okay.
She's 28.
Then I guess it was about 3-4 years ago.
Yeah,
That's
it was
probably what it
3-4
was.
years ago.
Yeah.
So,
That's fine. Okay.
and watching you two run that planchette
Hmm.
and for me to just sit back and check it out was a pretty neat moment. It was really cool.
It's cool, and you guys, I can sit down with people, as I've shared with here before with you guys, and I can tell if somebody's going to be pretty good at it immediately, pretty much in the first, I don't know, a few minutes of using a board with somebody. There's just something about it, and she would be good at it. She continues using it. Just saying. So
She's got that mind. She's got
you got to be open and creative, and as I told you guys, get out of the left brain logical thinking, get more into the free creative thinking. You kind of have to step aside. I know we've talked about this show ad nauseum, but we'll talk about some more. So Jimmy, I believe, and I think we've talked about this before, did you not have a UFO experience of your own? Something
I've had hundreds.
Yeah, but one that was really like a turning point for you, like it was major.
Oh, yeah. I think that they were all kind of turning points. Not all of them. That's not.
But there's one I think you had. Was it in the Valley of LA or something? I remember you talking about this before.
Okay. Again, I've had a few, but yeah. Okay. Let's back up. I think what you're talking about is Rita and I were driving down Latuna Canyon from Sun Valley into the valley.
Yes.
For everybody that's out there, here's the valley. Okay, so over on the west side of the valley, the east side of the valley, there's a mountain range. That's where Burbank is. And then that mountain range behind it is Sunland.
Yep.
And so you drive over that mountain range and then into the valley. And when you come down the hill, the whole valley is in front of you. It's millions of people. You see downtown Van Nuys and the government center, the lights. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful.
It is gorgeous.
And we're driving down. Songs have been written, about those valley roads. And so we're coming down and looking at the valley and the lights, and you do it every single time you do the drive. You cannot help but go, wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's right there in your face. Boom.
It's right there. And it's 10:30 at night. It's 10:24 actually, and there's a reason why I know this. And so we're coming down the hill and the sunroof is open. And Rita goes, what is that? And I look at her and she's looking up over my shoulder out of the sunroof. She's looking like this. And but I'm on a twisty, windy mountain road. I can't.
You're like, I need to keep my eyes ahead.
So I'm wondering, I caught her looking up, but now I'm back focused on the road. And right as I do that, it comes down straight through the middle of the windshield, and it's a white ball. It's super fast, and it's a white ball, and it goes right into the middle of downtown Van Nuys. And I thought it was going to explode. Now, I wasn't thinking UFO at the time.
Right.
I thought it was the Russians, right? I thought it was like a missile. But there wasn't any smoke. There wasn't any streak of light. It was just a white ball, and it just went shoop right in the middle of Van Nuys. And I backed up and said, what the hell? And I turned and I looked at the clock, and it's 10:24. I pick up the phone, 10:24. I immediately call MUFON. And I call Wolf.
And of course he has it on his phone. Okay.
I do.
I know.
No, Wolf McCarran. And I call up Wolf. I go, dude. Right? And he said, what? And I said, yeah, 10:24. I'm looking at the clock, 10:24, city of Van Nuys. There has got to be a million reports. It's got to be on the news. It was crazy. No explosion. It just landed in the middle of Van Nuys. Okay, I'll check it out. I'll get back to you. We got back home, 11 o'clock news. Got the TV on. I'm waiting for the reports, the thing.
Yeah.
Not a peep.
Isn't that wild?
Nothing. And I called MUFON back. Anything? No, nobody's replied. I said, that's impossible. There's millions of people. It's 10:30 at night. This thing landed in the middle of Van Nuys. That's impossible. And I followed up on the news for about a week. Nothing. There was nothing there. But the strange part about this, was that we had some friends that owned a company, totally separate. I'm not going to get into that, but was in that general area. And they were there that night and they saw it and they jumped in their trucks to go and find it. And, but they didn't find anything, but they did see it too. So that was the confirmation of, which you kind of need. Am I going crazy, or was something that was just for me? I was the only one that was supposed to see it? But that was pretty profound. And the reason for that, now as I look back, with my career and things, as I look back, that is exactly how the media and the world treats this subject. For so many different reasons. One, you see something strange in the sky. Do you call MUFON and report it? Probably not.
Right. A lot of people don't.
Do you call anybody? Do you call the police? It's the event is over. Oh, wow, that was strange. Okay. But now you're continuing to drive to your fast food restaurant or whatever you were doing, and now it's in the past. How many of these things occur every single day that don't get reported? How many of these things happen every single day? This is millions of people in the San Fernando Valley. You
guys talking about the greater LA area, in case people are from around the world and don't know what he's talking about.
Massive population.
Yeah.
How many are looking down at their cell phones and not up at the sky?
That's true nowadays, for sure.
That was proof to me that things can happen and nobody can see it.
Well, let me add this to the equation. So we're not just talking about UFOs now. We can take that whole kind of phenomenon that's strange and unusual, you don't know what it is, and apply it to maybe poltergeist activity, or maybe you see something spirits, or you see something that's out of the ordinary. I mean, you don't expect to see it where you see it, and you kind of convince yourself, did that really happen? Maybe it didn't. You may tell somebody, you may not.
That's a great point. And I brought up, let me give you an example. For everybody, I went on the air and did this long rant about how many things in your life that were extraordinary, paranormal, supernatural, fantastical, metaphysical that happened, and you put it on the shelf and have forgotten about it. And you can sit here and go, wait a minute, let's go back to that moment. Oh, that was strange. And the reason why I did this whole thing was because it happened to me. And this is what happened. So I asked everybody to just kind of stop and think about a moment, and then go back and analyze it. This is what happened to me, and this is how I found out about it. When I was a kid, my mom, right? When
everything goes back to Ouija.
I was crossing the street from our apartment, and I looked up. This is in Waukegan, Chicago. I'm 9 years old, 8 years old, 9 years old, and I'm walking across onto the playground, directly across the street from our house. And the elementary school is behind the playground. It's up on this hill, and that's where my friends are hanging out. And I'm crossing the street, and something catches my eye. And I look up, and there is, like the Hindenburg.
Oh, man.
Cruising across with the ridges on it, and the thing, the Zeppelin.
Oh, yeah.
And it's cruising across. I thought, wow, that's cool. It's low. And I took off and I'm running and I'm following it. And I follow it all the way across the playground. It's going like south towards Chicago. And I did all the way across, and then it just disappeared behind the trees and is gone. Now, so a couple of years ago, I was sitting working, and I thought to myself, you saw that Zeppelin in 72. That must be easy to look up. What could have been flying in Chicago in 1972? And I'm thinking it's the United States Navy. They've got Zeppelins.
Well, Goodyear blimp too.
Totally. But this way, this didn't say Goodyear on it.
Right? Yeah. Okay. So right. That's a dead giveaway.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So I jump on the internet and I'm searching United States Navy airships, 1972 Chicago. That's like my first search thing. Got nothing.
Oh,
U.S.
okay.
Navy airships, right? Boom, boom, boom. And then I find out in very short order that the United States Navy hasn't had any airships, rigid Zeppelins, since 1937. And then I find out that there haven't been any Zeppelins, rigid airships, in the world since 1937. After the Hindenburg crash, the
That was a
United
big
States had three:
tragedy.
the Ohio, the Akron, and the Los Angeles. Okay, those were the three rigid airships built by the Zeppelin, whatever. But two crashed, and the third was dismantled after the Hindenburg crash. That was it. The United States Navy was out of the rigid airship business, and there were none in the world. Now, what did I see in 1972? This was something that just fleeting, it was just this memory. Something jogged it, and I went and searched it. If there wasn't any in the world, what was flying over my house? So now it's time warp, right? Vortex.
I was gonna say swamp gas. Just kidding.
Yeah,
They always blame everything on swamp gas.
And was it me? Did I travel back in time, or was it something else traveling to the future? Right? I don't have the answers to any of this. What messed with my head so much is that this event was real. It happened. I drew this thing for months. I chased it. It was low. It was there. But it was something that was just put away on a shelf. How many events like this happen where you just put it away, put it on the shelf, and it's just forgotten forever? It's just like in the safe box. And I think that we all have these experiences, Karen. We have them all the time. They happen really quick, and we just pack them away because life is in front of us, right? We've got to deal with.
And you also you can't explain it. It doesn't make sense. So what can you do with it? For me, I write books about it, is what I do. and now you're out here sharing about it. So yeah, you know what? It's so interesting. In the 70s, and you jogged a memory of mine I hadn't thought about in years. So it was either 76 or 77. I was living in Virginia. My older brother and I saw this huge metallic shape in the sky. It was round. Now I believed in something out there that I couldn't explain, because I used to see lights in the sky all the time, and they just couldn't explain them. So we were watching this thing started coming down. We're like, what is that? It gets closer and closer, and we realized it looks like a balloon. It was huge, you guys. It was metal. It was huge, metallic looking, I should say. We caught it, grabbed it, pulled it down, and played with it. My dad goes, "Oh, I guess you found a weather balloon." So was that a weather balloon or something that you found?
Oh man, I don't have a story like that. That's pretty cool.
And we played with it for the longest time. My parents said, "Well, I go, do you have to get a tell on us?" Because my dad was in the military. He's like, "No, it fell down. I'd probably done with it. You could play with it all you want." And then finally the helium went out of it, but it was a weather balloon. But it was huge in the sky, and it looked weird. So I don't know. There's interesting things like that happen, but I hadn't thought about that memory in years.
Well, and because of I remember going back to my mother for a second. With everything that I've told the Ouija story about her hundreds of times on the show, and for me, it's just a precious part of my life. It's one of my fondest things to think about, and what she was doing for adventure and questioning things. It was just amazing. So now years have gone by. Years. I get my mom on the phone. Now I'm doing Coast to Coast, and I've got shows, and I've got Fade to Black, and things are popping off, and so my mom was watching stuff. Hey, me and my friends, we were playing bridge last night at the church, and we were watching. I was telling him that's my son, and I'm like, Mom, that is just so cool. So anyway, I call her up and I said, Mom, I got to get you on the show. She goes, what? She's in her 80s, right? I said, Mom, you gotta come on. Why? I said, Aunt Z, the Ouija board, aggregate the Eric Von Den. That was then.
Right.
I was like, Mom, but you don't understand. It had such a profound effect on my life and things, and that's great, but no, not going to do it. I said, Mom, why would I do it, Jimmy? I said, because it was your experience and it was shared with me. And what were you into, and why at that age? No. I found the Lord. I found Jesus.
That's right.
And that's what I'm doing now. And I hang out with my friends. And no, that was then. And it was now, this is the weird, it's like a dichotomy, right?
Oh yeah.
Of the situation where for me, boom, right? It was set my path, my hero's journey. For my mom, it was like, nah, that was me and Aunt Z just getting nuts as a kid. And I'm like, Mom, you changed me.
You're like, what? How could that be? Well, Jimmy, my mom was the same way too. I mean, not that she was using Ouija, but she had all these really cool books on the shelf, and she even hid them from my father because he was in the military. She didn't, and he was an engineer and didn't think on those levels. But she would show them to me and goes, you can come in here anytime you want, open it up, and you can grab a book. She had tarot cards, oracle decks. She went to automatic writers. She was into exploring past lives, and I was like, and she really influenced me too, I got to say, on those levels. And we started, as I got older in college and out of college, we started attending conferences together on spirituality and metaphysics and stuff. We read the same books when I was in college on this stuff. And then was doing the Ouija board, of course, all these years. She would say, could you get me a message from my guide? And then she would automatically go, in my past life, I was this person. And it was just so cool. So I did have that support at times. But Jimmy, when I was really young, when I was seeing my imaginary playmate, who was not imaginary, we talked about him before, Dacky. When I saw him, my mom said, you got to stop that. You can't go to school talking to people and things that aren't here. So she was like, it was weird. The dichotomy's there too. Close it down, open it up, close it down, open it up. And I'm like, you know what? This is what I decided about that. Because my mom really, I felt like there was that push from her as well to do these things. And she says now, she's like, oh, I'm so excited. You're happy. You're doing these fun things. And do you have a message and that kind of stuff? And she'll read my books. And then she'll say, but for her, no, that's not my thing now either. But Jimmy, they gave us that impetus, that springboard.
Well, I think that's exactly it. And we don't necessarily, we all live in our own bubble, right?
In a way we do.
We do. And so what we see around us and what has affected us, we think a lot of the times that everybody else understands. And that they are in the same bubble. They are not. And that includes my own mother, right? Where she was not in that bubble. And she was thankful. She kind of giggled about it, but she wasn't there. And she wasn't part of, again, I keep saying fond, the fondness of these memories, that warm, fuzzy thing. For me, huge. For her, man, that was me and Aunt Z just getting nuts. And I thought, wow, and here's the other part. So when she passed, talking about contacting spirits, and I know you and I have talked about this in the past, but for everybody listening right now, she passed during a broadcast, and she was sick for a couple of weeks. And I was making flight arrangements, and she was in Florida. I'm in LA. And so flight arrangements are made, and she was in the hospital for a couple of weeks. I'm talking to her every day. And she kept getting resuscitated. And I mean like a
Wow.
dozen times.
Wow.
And I keep telling the doctors, listen, doc, I know what she's saying. Listen to me. I arrive tomorrow. Okay, so keep her alive, right?
Oh,
Just
God.
keep her alive until tomorrow. And my mom is telling me, let me go. Just let me go every
Aw.
time. And then boom, I'm brought back. And she literally said these things to me. I said, Mom, listen, I love you. Just hang on until tomorrow. Well, that last conversation, showtime's like in 30 minutes. I knew it was my last. I knew it. And so I go and I do the show, and she had passed away right before the show started. I knew it. I felt it, right?
Oh, wow.
But here's the trippy thing with all of that. We hear so much about when a sibling, a mother or father passes, and the events that transpire after that, whatever, somebody shows up at the foot of your bed, or a coffee cup falls off the shelf, or a picture, whatever, you hear these things, right? This contact experience. And I was like, okay, well, so I fly out to Florida. I do my thing. I'm there for about a week, and her apartment, and going through things and grabbing stuff that I want to take with me, and I'm thinking, I'm wondering if I'm gonna get the visit.
Yeah, right. I'd be wondering too.
Right. Now, out of every crazy ass person that I know, my mom is gonna do this.
Well, she was the queen of Ouija one time.
Right. And nothing.
Oh.
I got nothing. I was like, wait a minute. Here's the deal, Karen.
Actually, I was going to say you got a lot from her, but okay, go ahead. Tell me the deal.
But here's the deal. In life, you've got a few things that you should expect and enjoy. The ultimate gifts: birth of a child, right? Christmas, right? Marriage, right? Just things that you expect. And you know what's on that list? Your mom comes and visits you in your bedroom after you die and goes, oh, it's pretty cool over here. I'm okay. I'm playing pinochle with my friends. That's what you expect. So live a good life. Bye, Jimmy. You are owed that. It's one of those things.
Well, especially because you're in this this kind of industry that celebrates what's beyond. So Jimmy, I have pacts with people. They'll come back to me on the Ouija board, or if they can't or don't know how or don't want to use it, they'll come back. And I've had some of them come back. I've had it. Now, my mom and my dad both swear, and they're in their 80s, mid late 80s now, that they will come back and talk to me on the Ouija board or come in person. I said, either way, I'll take.
Right.
But let's do it. And so I've had friends who have recently transitioned. Rosemary Ellen Guiley is one of them. She comes back and talked to me on the Ouija board. A few other of my friends have come back too that have transitioned. So some of them do. But you know
Rosemary would.
Well, she and I used to do Ouija board together. We used to hang out. This is what I'm thinking. This is, yes. And this is what I'm thinking. This is what I found when you were speaking. This is what I heard intuitively, was that you were like, oh, it'd be great. The mother comes back. Maybe I'll get the visitation now. I'm thinking, dude, you don't need the visitation. She did her work when you were that age of 8.
Yeah, I'm not buying that though. No, Karen, I've been told that so many times.
But it's the truth.
I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that. This is what I think.
You guys, he wants more.
Yeah, this is what I think. I think she's done. I think she did the full transition. I think she had just went whoop. That's it. She's over causing trouble in Zeta Reticuli. That's it. I just feel that's the situation here. She did her job. She was a good woman. She raised an amazing family, single mother, all that stuff. Lived a great life, hard life, tough life. In the end, was rewarded with amazing friends and family and stuff. And and she was tired. And she, if anybody got a golden ticket out of here, it was my mom.
Oh,
And
wonderful.
so I just think, no, I'm serious.
And listen, and I think it's a great way of looking at it. That very well could be the case. I mean, you would know the best, right? Do you
Yeah.
remember that time you had me on your show and I didn't know all this was going on with your mother? I mean, I knew about your mother and I knew eventually she did die. I didn't know the other pieces of it, but you had me on your show. And I think at that point she'd already been gone like 2 or 3 years. What year did she die? What year was it, or transition?
Oh man, 17.
Okay.
Wait,
So
what year is this? This is
this is
2023.
23. Was that like 6 years ago, 5 years
Yeah,
ago?
yeah, I'm thinking 17-ish, 16.
Okay, well, the reason you had me on your show, and I was just me on the show. We had no videos. We weren't doing Ouija board, but I was going to give people some messages. And so you said, well, just have your board there. And I said, okay, well, I don't usually do messages that way, but I'll have it there. And I had my board on my lap. Now, we didn't have video on. It was sitting on my lap like this. I had my hand in the planchette, and people had called in, and you said, Karen, what does my mom want to say? And I was like, oh shit, you're putting me on the spot. I'm like, okay, the planchette spelled out prayers. Do you remember that? And
I
you
do.
said, stop,
Yeah.
no more. And then
Yeah.
you explained. I was like, because I had no idea your mom was with the whole religious route later on. Did not know that. We didn't have that conversation.
Right.
And you said, stop right there. And you go, because then you explained what you just explained, how she was doing. We did.
And this, I'm the guest. I can cut you off. So
Yes,
this,
you can.
This is where I almost turn into a walking paradox of myself, because I know what people have asked you and what wonder about. I've taken thousands of phone calls and stuff, and I get that, where they're coming from. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
Like a weird thing where I hear it from people all the time, and I don't want to know. There are certain things I don't want to. I don't want to hear that she's happy, that she's sad,
Yeah.
that she misses us, that she's sorry, or that she's this, or that she's angry. You know what? No, myself, I don't need those questions answered. So many people out there. I was able to close the book with my mom in a proper way, but
Nice.
there are many people that don't.
Right.
Maybe the last thing that you did with somebody that passed was a fight, was an argument.
Right.
And you don't want that, right? And let's thank the universe. I haven't gone through that, and I hope that I don't. But you never know what the day brings. You just don't.
That's right.
You don't. You literally can walk out and get hit by a bus, right?
Yeah.
And the last thing you did was fight with your kids over dinner. You know what they wanted to eat that night. Is that what you want? You know, and so people have those things that they need to get resolved, those personal issues. I don't have those. So with my mom, she didn't come back and see me. I'm pretty pissed about it. and if she's out there listening, maybe something will happen. I've talked about this enough. Every time, Karen, that I do bring this up.
Yeah. What happens? I'm curious.
Nothing.
Okay.
I would have assumed that she's up there, with the Greek god sitting on a cliff edge, looking down at Earth, right, through the clouds, going, "Man, my son, I got to do this. Okay, all right, I'll be back." But no, nothing.
And I think that's fair enough. I mean, fair enough to say, because everybody has their own experience again. We're back to the experience. What do you need more experiences? So yeah, I do readings, and a lot of people do want some mediumship kind of stuff happening. I actually prefer to do more like helping people get in touch with their spirit guides to continue the journey and not be so focused on what has left, but to continue where you can go next. So
that's the magic.
I get both sides of it.
Yeah, that's the magic. That's the magic.
Isn't it great? Listen to Jimmy. There's so many. I mean, we could talk forever, and I still want to talk because I have all these topics I want to talk about. So look what I'm wearing today. Do you see this? Do you know what that is?
Bigfoot.
Yes, yes. And now I know you went to East Setting. You had your own, and I went up there too, Jimmy. After you did, about a year, 2 years later, you had an experience up there. Do you care to share that? Because I know you like cryptids.
Yeah. It's not a Bigfoot experience, but it is.
Yeah, in a roundabout, and I'll share mine too.
And so I was up there, Fade to Black conference, and there's a fire pit, and I was over at the fire pit by myself, trying to get some Jimmy time, alone time. I've always got people pulling me in every direction all day long, and I had this moment where I was Dave Schrader.
Is he contacting you right now?
Right now, he's like, "Hey man, can you give me a call, man?"
You should text him back and say, "Right now, I'm on a show with Karen."
I'll do it.
I know. Dave and I go way back too. I see, you guys. You never know what's going to happen during these shows. You know that.
Okay.
Yeah, tell him you're on a show with me right now.
Dude, I'm on Karen Dahlman's show live, period, right now, period, and you are bugging us.
Oh, he's sending that, you guys. Oh, he sent it. Good for you. That's great.
I did. Oh, I don't play around.
No, I know you don't. This is why I like Jimmy.
What were we talking about?
Well, you were at the fireplace at Fire Pit, and you're trying to get Jimmy time. And
I'm at this fire pit, and middle of the day, noon or something, and we had a few hundred people there, and there were some families that were there, and so there was four boys, ages like 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay.
That were running around. They became friends. They didn't know each other before the conference, but now they're running around in this, on this big ranch and doing what boys do. And so one of them comes up to me, and he whispers. He's like, he just said, "How dare you?" That's from Schrader. Okay.
That's I was like, who? The kid said that, or did Dave? Okay, that's so funny.
He goes, "Hey Jimmy, you want to see a Bigfoot print?" And I go, "No." He goes, "It's right over there." I go, "Where?" I don't want to get up and walk for 5 miles through the woods with these kids.
Right, you're enjoying the fire pit at night.
Right. And that's not going to be a Bigfoot print. It's going to be something else. But anyway, and I said, "Where is it?" And he points right over there. And I look over into this field.
Okay.
The other 3 boys are all standing there looking at me. I'm like, "Oh no, I gotta go. They're waiting." He went and grabbed Jimmy and did this thing. So I get up, and I'm just like the curmudgeon old man. Oh, man,
I can see you.
Yeah. And I'm walking across the field, and it's amazing. It's like this big, and I'm like, "Okay, all right, man, settle down, young man. Sure, let me be the judge of this." And so we walk up, and they're standing there, and I look down, and it's a friggin' Bigfoot print, this big. I'm looking in the grass, and it's a footprint, toes. I mean, like a footprint.
You don't think anybody could have faked that?
And well, yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wasn't it over by where you parked the cars?
It was in the middle of the field.
Okay.
In the middle of the field. We had about 20 or 30 RVs that were there, and so there was a row.
And I know where they park in the field there. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And I'm looking, and my hair. I mean, I kind of freaked. I'm not gonna lie.
All right.
That because I'm not a small guy. I'm 6 foot, 200 pounds.
Yeah.
And I'm not making a dent, on the ground.
Oh, in the earth.
And Schrader says, I'm TV's Dave Schrader. You don't talk to me like that.
Tell them we're TVing right now ourselves. We talk to Dave Schrader that way.
Karen says hello.
You should film us right now and send it to him.
So we should. Okay, so so I'm looking, and I said, wait a minute. Everybody back up. And I get on the phone. We had a documentary film crew there, and that was filming everything. I said, get over here right now, bring cameras and lights. And so so I'm filming and with my cell phone waiting for people to show up. Now we're starting to get a little bit of a crowd. Everybody's wondering what's going on. And I said, everybody back up. If there's one footprint, there must be more. And then we found 3 more.
Oh, that's amazing.
Like one in front of it and 2 more.
Were they like
back of it?
A long stretch? Like
yeah.
How much distance between each?
Probably 6 feet in between each step.
Yeah, the stride is really long, I hear.
Yeah. These were like 20 inches.
Oh my God. So it's not like a size 13, 14 foot.
No, it's like size 32. and so, and so I backed up my mind a little bit and started to analyze what could have made this, the size. The ground was hard, so whatever this was had a lot of weight to it. I started thinking of hoax. Still could have been. Somebody did this, which I will never, especially something like this that is this extraordinary, that people jump to conclusions too quick. But the other part for me is the spacing of them.
Okay.
And how it could have been, because it's in the middle of this field. So somebody would have been seen doing this. I would have thought there was too many people running around. We had hundreds and hundreds of people up there. So I am trying to be objective and stay right in the middle here.
Okay.
And play this out. Almost too good to be true.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of this field.
But it's where you watch for the ships, right? The sky watching field.
Yeah.
Where the labyrinth is.
No, on the other side, where the trees are.
Okay. Okay, past there's another prayer circle out there.
Well, you have the entrance. Okay,
Mhm.
the gate.
Yep.
Okay, so it was over on that side.
The right side, yes.
Yeah.
That's where I envision it.
And so that. Oh man.
Yeah. You definitely had some kind of weird, interesting experience. Maybe it's you guys. A lot of these things you can't always explain. As we were talking about earlier, you don't know what to do. It goes on the shelf somewhere. Well,
these kids, if they hadn't, because this is a field full of knee-high grass.
Okay? Yeah.
These footprints would have never been seen. And you have to.
How do they find them?
How do you, as an adult, right? You would have to be out there walking around, looking down at the ground. We don't do that.
Right. Or looking for them because like you said, the grass is tall.
Not in the middle of this field. Why would you expect big footprints to be right there? But if you're a little kid, low to the ground, right? And you're out there goofing around, that's exactly what you're doing. You're looking at the ground, you're doing this, and that's how they were found. If they hadn't have been out there playing and goofing off, I would have never seen these, and neither would have anybody else. So why hoax something like that where they would never be seen? I don't know. The whole thing was just a crazy experience, and
it is. And you guys, he's talking about James Gilliland's East City Ranch, as I mentioned earlier. So I went up there too a couple of years later, and I was there to go sky watching. Saw a lot of orbs. I did a video on it, you guys, and you can go look for my visit at East City Ranch and see the orbs. And I did tell the story in it. And in a nutshell, we started in the Adirondacks, then we went to the brand new cabins by the water, and then we decided to go stay in the tents. And it was the night staying in the tent where I heard first you could hear elk snort and whistle and the stuff they do in the fields. And there are a lot of elks that are out there. They lay down in the field. You can see where they lay the grass down. and I heard this like distressed snort elk sound, and then I heard this and this got out and scream like so loud, like you've ever heard a peacock scream, but then add the gurgle underneath of it. It was beyond human. It scared me less.
Well, that's why I stay in an RV. Yeah, it's
well. Listen, I wasn't that scared. I was like
been.
curious, but I was like, not going out there, not gonna go to the restroom, not gonna go out by myself. But in the morning, I remember talking to James and his friends at work there, his colleagues, and they said, "Oh yeah, that's Sasquatch." I was like, "Oh, we don't know for sure."
Well, and now I find myself, I just got this house. And you and I got our houses at the same time.
We did, and you guys, we actually got on our FaceTime. We showed each other our house. We took a tour of each other's house.
We toured each other's houses. It was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun.
It was fun.
And this house has turned out to be completely haunted.
Are you kidding me?
Oh yeah. And I
what are you getting?
Well, I've got a little taste of everything. I've got some poltergeist stuff, a lot of poltergeist stuff. I've got things falling off walls and moving on the floors, and my shoes in my closet are constantly falling off of the shelves. And I can't.
Jimmy, let me interrupt you. I'm just going to take a break right here. Do you have a little more time?
Okay, hold on for a second. I'll
tell you why I asked, because you have so much to share, and this was good. But we still haven't gotten to your Gaia show, Egypt, the Dendera Temple, and Sphinx.
Okay, let's get to all of that when we come back.
And since I cut Jimmy off, be sure to watch the rest of this fascinating interview with Jimmy Church in part 2. Thank you again for joining us and watching. This was Creative Visions TV with me and Jimmy. See you again real soon.